Hello, and welcome back to the third video in our 5-part series introducing distance learning in band. My name is Rich Gordon and I'm the band director at Sycamore Junior High School. You should have already watched the first 2 videos, including an introduction to distance learning and how to get an instrument. And this video is going to talk about everything else that you need to be successful in your distance learning experience. Students, after you watch this video, make sure you log into Schoology to complete the quiz, which will let me know who's watched the video, and it'll also help you earn points for the class. Alright, so if you've already watched those first 2 videos, and if you're ready to learn what else you're going to need for our band classes this year, let's get started. Alright students, well let me just start by saying that I'm really going to miss your faces at the beginning of this school year. The thing I enjoy the most about being a teacher is that I get to spend time with you as we laugh and we learn and we perform together, and I'm looking forward to getting back to that as soon as possible. But for now, let's talk about everything that you're going to need to be able to set yourself up for success at home during distance learning. I'm going to talk about 2 things today. We'll talk about setting up your workspace and making sure that you're ready to go online and practice at home. And then we'll talk about the mouthpieces and cleaning supplies that you're going to need to be able to maintain and play your instrument. There's a lot to talk about today, but I've created a checklist for you of everything that I'm going to be discussing, and you can download that in PDF format on our Schoology page. Alright, let's get started. The first thing I want to do is give you some tips on how to set up your own personal learning space at home. The band room at Sycamore is the perfect place for us to get together and learn, and I do my best to set it up for you so that you are comfortable and safe and so that we can work together to create music and have fun. So before I even talk about mouthpieces and cleaning supplies and all the other things that you need for this year, I'd like to take a minute and just give you some tips on setting up a space in your home that will allow you to have a successful learning experience because, at least for the beginning of the school year, your home will be your classroom. So the very first thing that you'll need to do this year is to find a place in your home where you can sit while you are attending classes or doing your assigned work. It doesn't have to be a large space. The area that I'm using to demonstrate this is only about 3 feet by 5 feet, but the goal should be to find a place that will be comfortable and away from distractions like TV as much as possible. Also, if you plan on using the camera on your computer so that your teachers or classmates can see you, just be sure that the area behind you is something that you and your family are okay with everybody seeing. And remind everybody who lives with you that your camera will be on. Now students, I completely understand that it might be difficult for some of you to find a space to set up from home. All of our living conditions are different, and don't worry if you can't find that perfect spot. I promise that none of us are going to judge you or criticize you for whatever you have in your background if you turn your camera on. What's most important is that you log on and connect with us. The ideal situation would be for you to have a desk or a table and a comfortable chair, and if you don't have a good flat surface, you can always go buy one of these sturdy little folding tables to create a desk for yourself. What's most important is that you have a safe place to set your Chromebook or your computer on, and that you are able to sit in a comfortable position while you're working. I don't recommend trying to attend classes in your bed, because it's probably not going to be very good for your body to be hunched over or laying down in a bed all day. And it's probably going to be difficult for you to find a good position to do your work and play your instrument on your bed. The chair should be a comfortable chair because you will be sitting in it for many hours every day, but keep in mind that you can always stand up for a while during your classes, which I recommend doing several times every day. I also recommend that you check your internet connection and test the Wi-Fi in the location that you choose. Personally, I like to use Okay guys, well look, it's going to happen, okay? You're just going to have to get used to the fact that even with the best internet connection or the best computer, sometimes it's going to freeze or you're going to get kicked out of the meeting. All we can do is try not to get too frustrated. Just try to get back into the meeting as soon as you can, and I promise I'll let you know what you missed. Alright, so if you've picked out a good spot and your internet is working, here are a few other things that you'll need. Number 1, a clock, or another way to tell time. Remember, there's not going to be any bells ringing to remind you to get to class like we have in school. If you have a phone, I recommend setting daily timers to go off 5 minutes before your first class and 5 minutes before the end of lunch, or whenever you think you might need reminders to log on to your next class. Number 2, a pencil and a pad of paper. Yes, you will be spending a lot of time typing into the computer, but I guarantee there are going to be times when you're going to want to write something down on paper. Number 3, your instrument. We might not actually start using instruments online right away together because it'll take a while for some of you to get one. But once we do, you'll need to have it very close to you and you'll need to figure out a safe place to put it. And please keep your instrument on a stand or in a case whenever you're not using it. Number 4 is your music or method book. The method book that we use to learn music at Sycamore is called Essential Elements for Band. And if you're in beginning band, you can go ahead and buy that whenever you're ready to buy your mouthpiece. And number 5 is a music stand. Now this is optional, but as we start working on music, you'll find it a lot easier to practice if you have a music stand at home. It doesn't have to be one of the music stands like what we have in our band room. You can order a foldable wire music stand on Amazon for about $10 to $15. In addition to these 5 items, you might also want to have a water bottle within reach. Just be careful not to spill it on the Chromebook. And try not to keep too many snacks in your area while you're in classes, especially if you're in a band class, because we don't want the food particles all over or inside the instruments. Okay, so I'm going to talk a lot about the technology and the computer programs in the next video, so I'm not going to address that here. For now, let's go ahead and move on to talking about mouthpieces and cleaning supplies. If you have your own wind instrument at home, then you probably already have your own mouthpiece. But if you're going to borrow a wind instrument from the school, whether you're advanced band or beginning band, you should really buy your own mouthpiece because this is a very personal item that goes on your lips, and you really don't want to share it or use one that somebody else has used before. For advanced band and jazz band members who are borrowing a school instrument, you probably already have your own mouthpiece, but if you don't, I recommend getting one as soon as you can. Remember, for beginners, we will be choosing instruments during the first few weeks, so after you choose your instrument, and then after I confirm that you'll be able to borrow that instrument from school, then you can go buy your mouthpiece. And again, anybody who's going to play flute or percussion, this information about mouthpieces doesn't apply to you, although flute players will still have to buy the cleaning supplies. So there are 2 ways for you to purchase the mouthpiece and the supplies that you need for your instrument. You can either go online and order it, or you can go visit your local music store. But before you do either of those 2 things, make sure you know exactly what you need to get, and that's what the next part of this video is about. Now, I'm not going to talk about prices in this video. That'll be up to you to determine how much your family is willing to spend. If you remember what I said in my last video about how buying an instrument is like buying a car, the same thing applies here to mouthpieces. You definitely want to make sure that you don't buy something that's too cheap, but you also don't need a very expensive professional mouthpiece. So go ahead and do some research and shop around on your own. For now, I'll just tell you what you need and I'll let you decide how much to spend. Okay, so now I'm going to talk for about 20 to 30 seconds for each instrument, and I'm going to show you everything that you'll need to be able to play and maintain the instrument. So when I get to the instrument that you play or that you're interested in playing, you might want to pause the video and take a screenshot so that you'll have a picture of everything that you need. I'm also posting a list of links on Schoology, and if you click on those, it'll take you directly to a website where you can purchase or at least see the approximate cost for the supplies. Now, I have to apologize in advance because this video is going to get a little bit long right now. This will be the longest video of our 5 videos. And the reason is I have to talk about each instrument individually. So I'm going to put up a list on the screen right now, and this list will tell you exactly when in the video I talk about each instrument. So you can skip ahead to the instrument that you're interested in if you'd like. If you're a beginner watching this for the first time and you aren't sure which instrument you're going to be playing yet, you might just want to watch them all because it'll help you decide which instrument to choose if you know what you're going to be expected to buy. I'll also put links to each specific instrument down in the description of this YouTube video, so you can click on those links if you need to come back later and find it. After you hear the information for your instrument, go ahead and skip ahead to the final minute of this video because I still have a few important things to tell you. Flute players don't need to skip ahead because I'm going to talk about your instrument first. Okay, I'm going to talk as quickly as I can, but I do have 9 instruments to cover right now, so remember you can always come back to your instrument later by clicking the link in the description. If you're going to play flute in our class, the only materials that you will need to purchase is the cleaning rod and the cleaning cloth. These are used to clean and dry out the inside of the instrument after each time that you play it. You don't have to buy the cleaning cloth from a music store. You could also just use handkerchiefs or even a cut up old piece of a white t-shirt. Just be careful not to use a fabric that's too thick. Also, keep in mind that you'll need the Essential Elements for Band method book, so if you buy everything you see on this screen, you should be set. For clarinet players, you will need a plastic clarinet mouthpiece. Remember, this looks similar to a saxophone mouthpiece, but it's a little bit smaller, and you can't use a saxophone mouthpiece on a clarinet, so make sure you actually get the clarinet mouthpiece. You'll also need a ligature and several reeds to start. I recommend buying a box of 10 reeds, and again, make sure you get clarinet reeds, not saxophone reeds. And you can start on size 2 reeds for beginners and size 3 for advanced band members. You will also need a cleaning swab to clean out the inside of the clarinet, and a little container of cork grease to help you put the clarinet together. Also, don't forget about the Essential Elements for Band book. For saxophone players, you'll need a plastic alto saxophone mouthpiece, and make sure you don't buy a clarinet mouthpiece because they look similar. Also, keep in mind that there are different types of saxophones, so if you're a beginner, you're probably going to be starting on the alto saxophone. Make sure you don't buy a tenor saxophone or a baritone saxophone mouthpiece. Just like a clarinet, you'll also need a ligature and several reeds to start. I recommend buying a box of 10 reeds, and again, make sure you get saxophone reeds and not clarinet reeds. You can start on size 2 reeds for beginners and size 3 reeds for advanced band. Another very important item that a saxophone player needs is a neck strap to hold the saxophone while you're playing it. So make sure you get that, and also you'll need a cleaning swab to clean out the inside of the saxophone, cork grease for the neck of the saxophone, and don't forget about the Essential Elements for Band book. If you're interested in playing French horn, you'll need a metal French horn mouthpiece. You'll also need a bottle of rotor oil and tuning slide grease. Please make sure that you don't put slide grease in the rotors. A cleaning snake will help you clean out the inside of your instrument, and also don't forget about the Essential Elements for Band book. Trumpet players will need a metal trumpet mouthpiece. I always tell students to get a size 7C if they're in beginning band, and a size 3C if they're in advanced band. You will also need a bottle of valve oil and tuning slide grease. Please make sure that you don't put tuning slide grease on your valves. A cleaning snake will help you clean out the inside of your instrument, and also don't forget about the Essential Elements for Band book. Trombone players will need a metal trombone mouthpiece. Make sure you get the small shank mouthpiece, not the large shank. Also, you will need a bottle of slide oil or slide cream and a container of slide grease. Please don't get these two confused. Slide grease goes on the small tuning slide at the top of the trombone, and slide cream or slide oil goes on the big slide that you move in and out while you're playing it. Trombone players will also need a spray bottle filled with water and a cleaning snake to clean out the inside of the slide. And of course, don't forget about the Essential Elements for Band book. Baritone or euphonium players will need a metal mouthpiece that's exactly the same as the trombone mouthpiece. So if you buy one that's labeled as a trombone mouthpiece, that's okay. Just make sure you get the small shank version, not the large shank. You will also need a bottle of valve oil and a container of slide grease. A cleaning snake will help you clean out the inside of the instrument, and also don't forget about the Essential Elements for Band book. If you're interested in playing tuba, you'll need a metal tuba mouthpiece. Tuba mouthpieces are a little bit more expensive, so if you want to play tuba and you can't afford to buy the mouthpiece, just contact me and I'll see if the school might be able to get one for you. You will also need a bottle of valve oil and a container of slide grease. Please don't get those two confused. You don't want to put slide grease on your valves. And of course, don't forget about the Essential Elements for Band book. If you're in the percussion class, you will need a bell kit with a set of bells, a drum pad, and a stand. These kits usually come with their own sets of mallets and sticks, but if you want to buy your own really good pair of drumsticks, I recommend the Vic Firth SD1 Generals. Remember, you don't have to buy your own bell kit, you do have the option of borrowing the kit from the school. But we will be using the bells and the drum pad every day in the percussion class, so you will need to get one. If you're worried about the bells or the drum pad being too loud in your home, I'll show you a few tips to make sure that you're able to practice a little bit quieter. Also, the percussion class will be using the Essential Elements for Band book. Alright students, it's up to you and your parents to make sure that you have everything you need to get started this year in band. Don't forget about the checklists of everything that I talked about in this video. I'm posting them in Schoology. They'll be available to download in PDF format. The sooner you buy or order your supplies, the better, because right now everybody's starting school and thousands of band students are going to be looking online or in the stores to buy their mouthpieces and supplies. So if you wait too long, you might not get the best prices or the best deals. Plus, shipping times might be a little bit slower right now. You'll find the links to the cleaning videos in our Schoology page, so you can learn how to clean your instrument at home. Just be careful, make sure you're using the correct techniques and the correct materials to clean your instrument so that you don't damage it. I hope this video has helped you to understand everything that you'll need to be able to participate in our band classes. In our next video, we'll be discussing connecting online, including using Schoology, Smart Music, and all of the other great online resources. Students, don't forget to take the Schoology quiz before you go watch that next video. If you have any questions or difficulty purchasing the items, please feel free to email me or contact me anytime through Schoology, or you can contact your local music store. As always, stay safe, stay happy, stay healthy, and I'll see you again next time.